Hello, hi. So I am not gonna lie and say that you didn't get a 7-9 notification if you rang the bell yesterday. And I'm not gonna say that there were technical difficulties, and I'm not gonna say, oh my gosh, I don't know how that video accidentally deleted itself. I wouldn't say any of those things. I don't know. I guess yesterday was extra ranty or extra me. Anyway, we'll just see what's up. Let's see what's up. I don't know. Oh, I guess yeah. Okay. So I have arrived at my destination. My Greyhound bus broke down. I had two buses. It was like a 20-30 minute ride and then an hour and a half ride. So I finished the first ride. Excuse me, I transfer, and as soon as we pull onto the highway, the bus breaks down. And they're like, it's going to be 2 to 3 hours for another bus to come. And then an hour after that, she was like, in 3.5 hours, there's a bus from Chicago that'll be coming 3 hours later and some change. She's like, the bus that was on its way broke down. But the state trooper is here and they're going to get us some water. uh, And so I'm waiting and waiting. I'm texting my number one fan, like, something told me to book that later bus, but I didn't. Well, something told me to switch it because I was going to have to Uber since both of the people that I'm staying with are at work, would have been at work, but I didn't have to Uber because fortunately my arrival was delayed by 6 hours. And I got to read this book that I got 2 years ago that I've been meaning to start reading. I was like, well, I said I wanted to start and finish it on this trip, and I have literally nothing else to do besides nothing or kill my phone battery. So I started the book and I'm loving it. So, anyway, that was 2 days ago now. The time went, it passed a lot faster than I thought. Like, I read and I looked up and an hour had passed, and I read and I looked up and another hour had passed. And then after that, it was like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I'm just like, and I sent a message to my journey buddy. I was like, yeah, like, I think I'm in my bus era. Like, I've been loving the bus. I haven't had any bad experiences with it. And then that happened. And yeah, the bus driver was just like, yeah, so the bus that was on its way, it also broke down. And of course, there were some people on the bus who were more vocal about their displeasure with the situation. But anyway, hey, Kirsty, how you doing? It's been my most eventful bus trip yet, but I made it here. Like I said, I didn't have to Uber, so I guess I saved some money there, and everything's been fine since. But I don't know. I'm gonna try to keep this one relatively short. We'll just see what's up. What are we talking about today? I'll give it 3 shuffles, and if nothing comes out, then I guess we're not talking about anything, and I'll just end it. All right. So one. Oops. Oh, that was two. Three. Bottom of the deck is the 2 of coins. I'm like trying to get some natural light today. Can you see the window of my glasses? Indeed, it is. Excuse me. I'm really well short. Like, for at 3 o'clock, I'm closing this because that's when my mandatory productive window opens. So I'm gonna like extend my mandatory productive window to the point. Like I'd like at least like an hour to, well, ideally like 2 to 3 hours, and then to like push it closer to the beginning of the day. But I gotta do something productive before it's family time. So we're gonna do our best. So one of the reasons why, not one of the reasons why I deleted the video, the live yesterday, but I just got like bullied. I was pulling cards and I didn't like the tone. I didn't appreciate the tone. Because I was saying lately, I feel like I've been in this. I guess the hope within me has been struggling to continue hoping, or not necessarily. I feel like just disinterested, maybe. I feel like the disillusionment that Saturn can be in Pisces, maybe honestly, since a few days after, or maybe since when Saturn went retrograde. I feel like Saturn in its pre shadow was a lot of like me understanding like these things about me in a context that I hadn't necessarily before in the way that I perceive of things. Um, and then it's like Saturn went retrograde, and I feel like I've been just like disillusioned to a lot of stuff. And my hope in people is high. My hope in humanity is just shot. So, hey Holly, how you doing? That's kind of sort of where I've been. And then the cards yesterday were like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever. And it was like a whole bunch of me stuff, you know. It didn't necessarily, I mean, I guess some of it could have applied, but anyway, the King of Swords is here. This is our archangel. Archangel. It is the archangel commander in the SKT, but here it's our archmage of air, the one who tests our integrity and reasoning abilities, logic and integrity. Let's get some clarification. The Two of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. I feel like there were some things, I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm honestly at this point in my life where I'm like, people are going to do whatever people are going to do. And the repercussions, the effects, the consequences will be whatever they are. And we will respond however we're going to respond. And maybe sometimes we'll learn, or we'll just keep spiraling down the toilet bowl, you know? But as a respecter of free will of others, I'm like, I guess if we don't choose to be any better, then, you know. The Ace of Pentacles and the Empress at the bottom of the deck. I saw some of these yesterday. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope you a speedy and complete recovery. What is the King of Swords? I remember when the King, okay. I remember when the King of Swords for a hot minute was coming out as masculine intuition. There was the High Priestess, and the High Priestess major arcana in the court, her energy was split between the Queen of Cups and the King of Swords. The Queen of Cups is like a passive. The Queen of Cups is like a non-personalized intuition, And then the King of Swords was an active intuition. Like Queen of Cups, her vision is one that's almost primarily focused on the world around the Queen of Cups or the circumstances around the Queen of Cups, but they don't really involve the Queen of Cups herself. Like she doesn't necessarily see herself doing things. She sees like things happening. Like, oh, I had a vision that this was going to happen or that this person was going to give me whatever. It's like a lot of external, or if it is internal, it's mostly related to something or someone on the external that is directly involved with the self. But the King of Swords was the one that was able to see, like, if I do this, then this is how it's going to affect things. Because sometimes in the vision of the Queen of Cups, she may think that certain things just happen, but she may not necessarily see that it's because of something that she does that will cause something to transpire, or because of something that she doesn't do. And mostly from the context of like the Queen of Cups wanting something or receiving something, her thinking, okay, I don't have to do anything, it's just going to come to me. So she never does the thing that she needs to do to position herself to be in the right place at the right time, in the right place at the right time to receive whatever. The King of Swords was the one that was able to do that. Or the King of Swords was the other part. So I'm feeling, because of the Ace of Coins, oh, you can see it. There you go. Because of the Ace of Coins, it's almost the synergy of like the part that we play and with the Empress at the bottom of the deck. This is almost the Hierophant is behind the Empress, and the Six of Wands is behind the Hierophant. Seven of Pentacles is under that. I'll figure out how to move these one day. And the whole lighting situation. Um, I feel like this is an energy. It's almost about us being aware of what our part in the manifestation process is, or in the actualization process. Like, we do more than just ask for something, or do, depending on what we're asking for and depending on what it is that we're seeking, I guess. Sometimes we have to do more than just like ask or do a ritual or whatever, manifestation, whatever. And this, the King of Swords, again, it's like the active part that we play. And then, so it's like the Empress is what we receive. And then this Hierophant is what we're entrusted with. It's like what we receive and then what we're entrusted to do with whatever it is that we receive. So let's say, for example, that we are manifesting um, food security in our local community, right? And then, like, that's what we're manifesting, that's what we're doing all that, whatever, for. And then we come upon an opportunity, like a lucrative opportunity or a fairly significant sum of money. This is an example, it's a metaphor. So we're manifesting this like food center to promote food stability, food security within a community. We come upon maybe a building we inherit or a sum of money. Like we receive that. And then the divine would be entrusting us to turn that building or turn that money into the thing that generates and promotes that food security. Like that's the part of our manifestation that we would be entrusted with. But, let's say all we know is we get this large sum of money and then we're like, oh, well, I can get a new house and I can get a car and I can do this and I can do all of these other things, except like the thing that except the thing that this was given to me for. Like there's still a part that we have to play in that. There's what we're entrusted with and what we're given. Now, that's broad context. Let's narrow this down. Ooh. The Knight of Chalices with the devil at the bottom of the deck. The devil in this deck has, since yesterday, it's come to be the hell that we go through on the way to heaven. So, like, we manifest heaven, but we have to go through hell to get there. And then there's that Winston Churchill, like, if you're going through hell, keep going. This combination actually came out together. But I think it was one of the final cards for like the right half of the deck. The devil was at the top, the Knight of Cups was at the bottom. So it's this question of kind of sort of like when the going gets tough, what do we do? Because again, much in line with that Archangel Commander energy, there's something that we are entrusted with when it comes to what we have received or what it is that we are manifesting. And when the going is easy, it's easy. When we're feeling good or feeling whatever, it's easy to show up and to do whatever we're supposed to do. But when faced with challenge and obstacle, the tower is under the devil and the fool is under the tower. And then the Ten of Cups is under that, with the Two of Swords under that. When we're faced with devil energy, or when we come across a certain obstacle, is this enough to keep us going? To sort of liberate ourselves and come upon this new path? Again, this isn't like the fate of the world is at stake, but the Ace of Coins sometimes to me represents like the world. Maybe like pre-world energy. But I think a lot of times when I see the world card, I don't know if I necessarily interpret the world as the world as much as I do like the Ace of Coins. But the Ace of Coins is more like our world to me, if that makes sense, rather than like the world at large. So I have no clue what that song is, and I'm glad it's not stuck in my head. I'm kidding. I feel like there's also something here with devil energy, with this devil in particular, that because of our human nature, it makes it difficult to see things as they are sometimes rather than as we think for them to be or as we wish for them to be, like some kind of confirmation bias or whatever. It's that like this devil energy sometimes can be that like, oh my gosh, like how did we get here? Like everything was going so great. Like what? And then it's like if anybody else who's not directly involved were to look at it, they go like, the signs are obvious. The pathway here was obvious. I think this Knight of Cups sometimes can also be a little blind. I mean, it's not a cup. So we'll say it's like rose tinted glasses. It's very, very good at being like romanced or like whipped into some kind of frenzy where they only see the fantasy while being so disconnected from reality. Like, again, like this would be that energy. If there's something that we're asking for, if there's something that we're manifesting, we're this little Knight of Cups, like, oh, let's all get together. I'm going to keep my temper in check, okay? My Mars is in Cancer. So if that tells you anything about me that you may not have already known, that this could be something like the food thing, right? Like, let's say that we're like, oh, like I'm this powerful manifester, right? I've manifested whatever for myself, and now I believe in my ability to manifest, or I believe in this person who has given me the keys to manifest. And I want to use my manifestation powers for good. Um, and so we manifest whatever. And it doesn't even have to be that. But for example, for instance, we manifest whatever, but we don't necessarily know what it comes with. We don't necessarily know what we're going to have to go through, what we're going to have to overcome, what challenges and obstacles stand in the way of that thing being brought into reality. We only know what it is that we desire and what we wish. And so when the pathway is rolled out in front of us, but we see like challenge and difficulty and obstacle, and we are faced with all the things that we'd rather not see, it's within our human nature to go like, oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not this high vibrational whatever that I manifesting in. It's almost like the Six of Swords, and how I think it might have been in the Wand Unknown Tarot or the Witch's Tarot. Or maybe it was somebody else on YouTube. I don't know, like Benebell. I don't think she did. Maybe she did a series. I don't know. I feel like I read somewhere. I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I think I did. Where it's like with the Six of Swords, the Six of Swords sometimes could be like this path in the long run will be better, smoother, but there may be a section of it that's really like treacherous. But after you get through the dark forest, the path to the castle is like easy breezy. If you take the other path, it may look like it's better up front, but it isn't. Not always. And again, that's this energy. And so when these two came out, after I did the reading, and I was just like, because this devil energy, it's like live long and prosper. Why is that devil energy? So I'm still trying to figure out like exactly the context of this one in particular. Um, but like, the Rare Gazelle, she just did a video with like tricksters and stuff. And I even made a community post before about how sometimes devil energy, knowing how quickly we are, knowing how it's like this devil energy knows that we're this, and knows that when we see this, we may run instead of facing it. And so devil energy can use like the desire for things to be better or whatever almost against us, because devil energy knows that when the going gets tough, we're going to run away. We're going to choose flight, or we're going to freeze. Devil energy knows that we're not really a threat, honestly. And so devil energy is like, yeah, like let me convince you, or let me work with you. Or trickster energy, some of them, is like, yeah, like let me work with you to manifest all of these amazing things that you want, knowing that, like, let's say you position yourself to be the person that opens the food pantry or whatever, knowing that if you're given the money, you're going to blow the money. Or if you're given the money, you're going to do something else. So that devil trickster type energy will also guide you, or work with the forces that will guide you to, like, let's manifest this, let's manifest that, knowing that you're not actually going to do what you're supposed to do with it to see that result come about. So ultimately, at the end of the day, things remain the same, if not get worse. Because again, this is just a question of, like, we can do all this. Again, I guess it's like, from this point of view, Knight of Cups, but when challenge comes, when devil energy meets us, are we actually going to do the thing that we said we're going to do? Or is it going to be another thing where things just get worse? And again, it's very much like sometimes it's darkest before the dawn. Sometimes things get better, or things get worse before they get better. But if we get lost in the dark and we spin out in the worst, we never cross that threshold to the point where it gets better. And then things get even worse. Our trust, faith, hope in the divine sort of tanks, because it's like, well, I did all this and I followed all of whatever, but like, why did things get worse? Why is it worse now than it was before? Also, I think, again, it's just so much of the human condition where our memories, it's like we have short lives, short memories, and our sense of like cause and effect with memory and timing in our short lives is like completely whatever. They're just like not, it's like incongruous or whatever. It's like if I were to, like, let's say you're in an elevator, right? And I have some little Joker minion fart machine, and I put it in the elevator to go off in 5 minutes. And I get off the elevator and you get on the elevator and someone else is on the elevator and then the machine goes off. Because of our limited knowing of the context in this elevator, we smell something and we assume it's the other person, not knowing that it was whoever that put it in there 5 minutes before. And again, it's just one of those things that makes it so easy to derail some of the things that we want sometimes. Justice is at the top of the deck, the devil is at the bottom. Now, justice is an energy that will be able to see through it and see things through to the end. I'm going to pull before and after. I'm going to do the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Wands. Seven of Swords if we cut and run. Ten of Wands if we keep moving forward with whatever we're entrusted with, because we make such strong demands. That's why I feel like in general, we've gotten like really good at asking, demanding, and manifesting things. Like there's so much information out there about how to manifest and how to do whatever, but it feels like when it comes to the integrity and strength of character to bear the burden of those manifestations, to be the empress that holds that within her womb and goes through all of the labor pains to birth it into the world, we're not as prepared for that. Oh, well, there's the Ten of Wands. The High Priestess and the Ten of Wands just fell out. I feel like this is almost clarifying that whole, like the Queen of Cups is only able to see a certain portion of what the High Priestess sees, and then the rest of it I kind of attribute to the King of Swords sometimes. Like the High Priestess knows that that challenge, that double energy, that roadblock is going to be on the way to whatever. The High Priestess knows the hell that we have to go through to make it to the other side and end up in heaven. The High Priestess knows the things that makes us strong of character and heart and whatever, to the point where we can bear more and more and more and bring forth into the world more and more and more. That we're not going to give up after a few rejections or whatever, right? Like Q, your favorite artist or inventor who was told by 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 40 people that their idea was garbage or that no one would want to whatever, only for them to be persistent and eventually bring it forth into the world and it to be well loved and well received anyway, type energy. And rejection is hard. People telling you that you're not good enough is hard. Not everyone is necessarily cut out to be the person that's rejected 40 times before they get that yes on the 41st try. And I feel like this is almost a double it. Like this is the High Priestess knowing what lies on that path, knowing the challenges that lie on the path to actualization and realization or whatever. But this is also the Ten of Wands person's faith in whatever vision that they receive, knowing that this Ten of Wands, excuse me, is worth it, knowing that it's going to pay off. Now, the Ten of Wands is burden versus responsibility. If it's our responsibility, then we have to keep carrying the Ten of Wands in some capacity if we want to see something birthed. If it's not our responsibility, then it's a burden that we carry and we have the right to just drop it because it's not ours. Now, I think responsibility against accountability is a really interesting thing to almost be mindful of. And that's also something that I said yesterday, um, where it's like I feel like more and more and more I'm hearing like this responsibility that we have, which I love. But I think too, it's almost like hearing responsibility so much brought this awareness of the human condition to sometimes be responsible, but not accountable. Like we can take responsibility for a whole bunch of stuff, right? We can feel that we're responsible for whatever, but if we can't take accountability for our own actions, then that could be like the boss who throws people under the bus to explain why this or that didn't get done when everyone submitted everything like on time or whatever, right? It's like, oh, well, it's that person's fault that this didn't happen and that person didn't do this and this other person didn't do that. So that's the reason why, like, this didn't happen. And I know that I'm responsible. I feel and I acknowledge that responsibility, but it's up to everybody else to actually do whatever, you know? So I think sometimes there are like subtle differences between the two. Strength is at the bottom of the deck. Strength in the Three of Wands, literally, and then the Two of Wands, literally, and then the Chariot under that. Literally, the strength to see something through. And again, this was that like that faith or that knowing that the Ten of Wands has. That's like, it doesn't matter what double energy throws at me, I can handle it. I'm going to make sure that this comes to be, it comes to pass. And again, like this is all clarifying the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups moves with their heart, with their emotions. Emotions are so fickle. Even love, as deep as it is sometimes, how many people are there in our lives that we truly deeply love? And sometimes our love for those people is like literally the only reason why we still pursue like that relationship. You know, like if you love someone, but like they irritate you, and you're just like, but you still love them, right? Now, sometimes, depending on the situation, the circumstances, and the scale, because if things escalate too much, it can be like done with love, XOXO, goodbye. King of Swords, Queen of Swords. But sometimes it's just like, again, it's breaking points. All right. Looking for the Seven of Swords, Ten of Coins, Nine of Swords, Knight of Coins, Death at the bottom of the deck. The World, Two of Coins, Queen of Swords, Lovers, Hermit, Ace of Swords, Temperance, Ten of Swords, Nine of Wands, Three Coins, Magician, Three Swords, King Wands, Six Coins, Four Coins, Eight Coins, Four Sword, Hangman, Ace of Chalices, Seven Coins, Six Wands, Sun, Seven Swords. The Seven of Swords is in between the Sun and the Emperor. The Four of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. What's interesting is the Six of Wands was before, or the Six of Wands was after the Emperor. So the Four and the Six makes the Ten of Wands again. This is actually a very interesting sort of flip on this energy. And this is the reason why I pull before and after both. I got to leave some room for Patrick to like find out what's happening rather than just plow through it. You know what I mean? I think it was the last time, it was like 2 lives ago. I don't think this came out yesterday. We've seen the Seven of Swords heading towards the Hierophant. Was that yesterday? I don't think so. I don't think it was yesterday. I think it was a few days ago. If you can find it on the internet, then it wasn't yesterday. But we saw the Seven of Swords heading towards the Hierophant. But it was this Hierophant, the Hierophant that, connects or directs the um, monks, apostles, listeners, followers of the Hierophant to the radiant divine above. This isn't the Hierophant that tries to position itself as the divine in any kind of way. And so it was like it was leading from a different Hierophant energy to the Hierophant that will lead folks to the divine within or and above and all around. I guess I could read the Seven of Swords in two ways. One of them is some like play at control. It's like the Emperor trying to harness the power of the sun. See, if I look at this Seven of Swords from that devil energy point of view, like this would be a devil energy that would make you an emperor so that you don't become the sun. Like you see how much sun there is in the sun card versus in the emperor card, and how much light the sun puts out versus how much light the emperor puts out. Again, it's like it's that Hierophant energy that will empower you, but it won't empower you so too much to the point where you don't need the Hierophant, or you're more powerful than the Hierophant. It's like this Seven of Swords energy. It can call something, but it can't bring it in. Which leads to frustration for us. And again, like not too much sort of changing. Or this is a self satisfaction. And maybe that's what this Six of Wands, Four of, like maybe that's what this, and then there's seven and seven, seven of coins, seven of cups, but the Ace of Chalices and the Star under that, the Hangman and the Five of Swords under these. Anyway, like from this point of view, this is when we feel accomplished within ourselves. We get what we want, and then we're like satisfied. We don't pursue anything any further. It's like if devil energy, or anybody, if anybody could satiate their greatest threat to the point that they don't want for anything, then they're not going to have a reason to upset the status quo. You know what I mean? And this is how sometimes there are good people, or there are decent people that can be like paid off. And it's because like they're comfortable within their own lives or whatever. I think on the other side of this is someone who walks away from something. This is like someone who, in walking away from something, they almost call in the sun on a situation by not participating in it. I feel like not participating in it is underselling what this is, and it's time for me to go. Um, but it's like it's, for example, it's someone who can like um, they know that their role or their presence in something is pivotal. And like, let's say that there's some mastermind that is doing things behind the scenes to get them to endorse or move in some kind of way. It's like someone who uses the influence of another. But when someone realizes how influential they are or how they're being used, they like stop participating in whatever the ploy or plot is. And it like, not only does it fall apart, but the whole thing is like revealed in some way. You know what I mean? So both. Basically, if you're empowered, it kind of doesn't matter like what you do, because either way, things will sort of like work out. But again, and that's the challenge of the King of Swords. Not only is it logic and reason, but it's also integrity. And we're human. Difficult things are difficult. Challenging things are challenging. And the things that have traumatized us and wounded us, of course, are going to be these major roadblocks to us. And as long as those things can take us out of the game, devil energy can bring it up, pull it up, whatever. And again, like this devil in particular, it's come to be the hell that we have to go through to make it to heaven. But how we don't want to do that. So we take ourselves into the middle of the ring of fire and then just burn there. Praying for someone to turn the stove off. All right. We got the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. I did this perfectly yesterday. I had to move 2 cards today. Ace of Wands on this side. What's on the bottom of the deck for the Ace of, or the top of the Ace of Wands is the Two of Wands. I feel like that's the divine energy that wants us to have our heart's desires. Like that's the benevolent force that works with us to move ourselves forward. That's the part of the divine that like believes in our ability to overcome challenge and to be strong even when it's difficult. And so it will allow us to have those very character building, death and rebirth, transformative judgment tower moments to become this version of ourselves that we want to be, that has the things that we desire, that is so much less raw when it comes to the things that trigger us, especially in the way that removes our agency and our ability to like rationalize or think clearly. And we, again, like we don't have to invalidate ourselves to get to that point, but it's not for our emotions to be used against us to manipulate us into doing something that we ultimately don't want to do. Cool. On the other side, we have the Knight of Coins, which is the dead. I could have went for the Knight of Coins instead of the Ten of Pentacles. Maybe, maybe not. Because there is the part of the Knight of Coins that is very like dedicated and steadfast, but there's another part of the Knight of Coins that could succumb to greed, that could be tempted to take shortcuts because it knows how slow it moves. Top of the deck is the Four of Swords. This is about allowing ourselves. This is like rest is an important part of the process. Like if you're building muscle, when you're at rest, that's when your body actually like builds the muscle or whatever. I don't know, but I'm assuming. Like when you're at rest, that's when the body actually like does all of that micro tear healing or whatever, and it strengthens your muscles. This is like when you take a step away from something so that when you reapproach it, you have a fresh mind and fresh eyes. And the thing that you couldn't sort of get your mind around, it's like all of a sudden it's like it dissolved without your attention. But this is just how important rest is to the process as well, which is a reminder for us to be gentle with ourselves, for us to give ourselves compassion and mercy, and for us to not rush ourselves into things that we're not ready for before our time. Because sometimes it can be more detrimental. Sometimes we rise to the occasion. It kind of depends. But anyway, sorry I didn't pay too much attention to the chat. I hope you all have an amazing whatever. Whenever you see this, I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and what you find. And I hope you a more complete understanding of the cost of the things that you desire. Because I think sometimes there are certain things that if we knew how much it would cost us to have, we'd realize that maybe we don't want it. And I guess that can be taken in multiple ways. So if we come up upon devil energy or if we face some kind of major challenge on the road to getting where we want, um, maybe it can just be like, oh, I guess I didn't really want that as much as I thought I did. Because if I did, I'd be willing to do this, and I'm not. That's informative, you know? So anyway, bye. I will see y'all maybe sometime soon, I'm sure.